Hello.
When do I mute all? Just like when am I the host again?
Hi everyone, we're just going to give it another minute or so until most people have logged in. I would just give it maybe half a minute more. All right, we might get started, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name's Shari. I'm the Partnerships Coordinator at Australian Organic. Welcome to everybody. This is the third webinar in our four-part series, going digital. So I think it's very useful for everybody. You'll get a lot of great content out of it. As always, if you have any questions, type them in the chat box and they'll be addressed at the end of the webinar. And if you have any general comments, feedbacks or suggestions for us at Australian Organic, please feel free to reach out and email us or give us a call at any stage. For now, I'll hand you over to the girls from Round Square Marketing and enjoy the webinar.
Perfect, thanks. Hi everyone, we're just going to open up our screen share so you'll be able to share our screen.
Oh,
Perfect, so everyone should be able to see our screen now. So my name's Lauren Hope and I'm the Director of Round Square Marketing, and I'm here today with my colleague Steph Roberts, and we are going to be deep diving into the digital marketing and sales funnels. We've already had a couple of you send in questions about digital marketing, so we will address those ones at the end. And as Shari mentioned, if you want to, anytime throughout the presentation, if you want to put a question into the chat bar, please do so, and we will address those at the end as well. We have quite a bit to cover, so it'll be easier to do it all at the end rather than per each slide. So today we're going to, we've broken it down into 4 modules basically. So digital platforms breakdown, the sales funnel strategy, ads strategy, and the takeaways. At the end of this presentation as well, you will get a recording of the full webinar with all the slides, and we've got a couple of handouts to give you as well, which will help prepare your own digital platforms. So let's get started. So you're going to hear a lot today around the terminology digital sales funnel. So I guess I really want to cement straight away, what is a digital sales funnel? So a digital marketing sales funnel is a combination of marketing tactics utilized to generate traffic to your business. Then you nurture them properly to become loyal customers who advocate for your brand. So funnels they're extremely important into turning social traffic into web traffic and web traffic into customers. When we go on to the next slide, it'll make a bit more sense how all the different mediums work together. Over the last 30 years, however, we've really gone from traditional marketing into digital marketing with the change in technology. So with the new social media platforms, most people using iPhones these days, you know, the technology has definitely changed, and the way the consumers are researching and transacting makes digital marketing a far better platform than traditional marketing strategies. So I have included a little pro tip down the bottom. So retargeting or remarketing is really important in the digital sales funnel process, as it allows for your digital footprint to continue to work for you over time, rather than losing the lead from individual channels working independently. So I will just explain a little bit about retargeting and remarketing when we go to that next slide. So what's your digital footprint? So you'll see on this slide, it's called the digital life cycle. And in there, you'll see social media organic. So that's the free social media when you're putting up posts, paid ads, social media profiles, website, blogs, e-newsletters, SEO and SEM, corporate franchise websites, if applicable, and third-party referrer sites. All of these platforms basically all work together to form your digital sales funnel. So when we talk about remarketing and that digital sales funnel, if we're driving traffic to your website, we might be using a blog to do that. When they get to the website, they have a look around, they click away, but we've already got an ad set up in our social media that is going to target anyone who's clicked on our website. So that is retargeting or remarketing to people who have had some interest in your business or your brand already. So I'm just going to go through each of the platforms very quickly so you have an understanding. So in regards to lead generation, the website, people use the website to research products or services. So obviously you want your website to be very engaging because you want people to deep dive further into different pages on your site. You want clear call to actions on the site, especially if you're a product-based site and you want people to transact. You want it definitely 100%. Any website you build, please make it optimized for mobile, because 90% of people are searching products and businesses on mobile platforms now. And as I mentioned before, you want engaging content. So you'll see there on those 3 bottom points, we talk about avoiding a high bounce rate to support organic SEO. So what a bounce rate is in your Google Analytics, you'll be able to see how long a user is staying on your website. If you can see the majority of people are coming on and they're gone in 30 seconds and they're not looking at any other pages, that's quite a high bounce rate. And you know that there's an issue, either, it's hard for the user to use your website, or the content isn't engaging, or there's been some sort of error system. So you can keep an eye out for that and adjust as you need to. E-newsletters. So we, as a business, you should be using e-newsletters to assist in redirecting traffic back to your website. The more traffic you can get to your website, the better you're going to rank in your SEO organically. So that's without having to pay for SEO services. Direct, it's obviously great for direct marketing with tailored messages to your different database segments. And I can't stress enough that your database should be segmented out as to what they've been interested in the past, or how they basically form part of your target market. And it's also just about consistency to remain top of mind. So this is very much a branding element. So, minimum once a month, they're getting an e-news from you that they remember your business. Blogs. So we often work with businesses that have a website set up, but they don't have a blog page. And a lot of the businesses, when we start working with them, they say, well, why do we need a blog? We don't really have time to do it. The regular blog article updating to the website, we suggest a minimum of once a month. It increases that organic SEO ranking as well. So everyone wants to be on the page 1 of Google, like ideally at the top of Google when people are searching your business. The way to get there, and some free ways to get there, is with fresh content on your website. So more traffic and fresh content, that's where the blog comes in. It's also a knowledge share. So it's basically giving you guys as a business credibility to your market and to your audiences. So be educational, don't be salesy, don't talk about yourself all the time. Give them knowledge of the industry or what's happening for them. Community and human focus is great, and always leverage off newsworthy articles for optimal click-throughs. So social media, it's just huge, and it's so big in basically generating traffic to a website. So the key takeaways for social media though is consistency in posting organic content 3 to 5 times a week as a minimum on each channel. So when I say each channel, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn, they all sort of work together. Just pick the channels that you really want to focus on though. Don't try and spread yourself too thin. Paid content, that's probably where the real gold is. So this is where it extends your reach, it grows your brand profile, and it controls that customer journey with sending traffic back to that website. So you might have noticed nearly every platform I've talked about, e-news, social media, blog posts, it's all about getting traffic to the web, because that's where we're actually going to get data, and that's how we can start retargeting someone who's interested in you. So that is obviously the paid content on social media channels, and we can, you know, retarget them and hopefully, ideally, re-engage that lead. So if they have clicked away from the website and they haven't transacted, we've got their data now and we can hopefully re-engage them. And then always make sure on social media that it's personalized and updated content for each channel. So, you know, you would know yourselves if you go on social media and you see an image that is just used over and over again over a 6-month period, people disengage. You know, it's not new, it's not interesting, it's old news. So creating a sales funnel from social media. So as I mentioned, social media is very powerful in controlling your consumer journey and creating that sales funnel for your business. So as one part of your overall digital strategy, e-news, website content, blog posts, Google campaigns, Facebook ads, etc., organic social media content should be treated as a strategic positioning tool for your brand. So I do just want to clarify here, starting a Facebook page or an Instagram page and not doing any of the other elements that we just spoke about, it's not going to have great cut through for funneling traffic. So these parts all really need to work together for that strategic positioning and strengthening your sales funnel. So always link your social posts back to your website. This will again assist with your SEO, but it also makes it just easier for people who are on your social posts to directly click through to web. So we want to it's about making the consumer journey as easy as possible. And linking social posts to your product or your transactional funnel. So with a book now button. So if you were selling a product, you can have a picture of the product with a book now button. It takes them straight to the page that product is on, and they can add it to their cart and transact. The less clicks for the consumer, the better. And always, if you are writing a blog or an e-news, always put them up on your social media and link it back through to your website, because that's basically obviously a big part of the sales funnel. And we want to use, if you're going to spend time writing a blog, you want to get as much use out of it as possible. So sales funnel strategy. If we're going to start building a sales funnel, these are probably your top questions you need to ask yourself. And I can't stress enough, the better you know your customer and your audience and your goals, the better cut through that your social funnels will have. So if we start with the basic one, who is your customer? We look at the age, the gender, the location, occupation, and hobbies. Where is your audience? So we're talking about, are they online? Where do they shop? Do they belong to any groups? What do they read? So it's starting to get, know your audience and their interests. What are your goals? So this is a really big one to understand. So is it to establish your brand? So you might be a new business. Is it to increase visibility? So you're relatively new, but you're trying to grow. Is it to generate straight traffic to a website? Or it might be a direct sales campaign where it's to basically grow sales and revenue quickly. When will you communicate? And another one here is how will you communicate as well? So what social networks will you be posting on? How often will you post? Will you blog? Will you use graphics or videos? Will you set up an e-news? So this is about building a campaign around your strategy. Then it's What's your competitive advantage? So what's your elevator pitch? Gather, the best testimonials. What makes you unique, and craft a compelling story. Whenever I'm putting together a digital campaign for us, one thing I always ask myself is what's in it for the consumer? So what's their pain point, and how can my competitive advantage help that pain point? And then obviously, how will you execute it? So what do you need to learn? What tools are necessary? Who is responsible? How will you measure traffic, or how it's performing? I've just put this little graphic in here because I wanted everyone to have an understanding of the digital sales funnel. So you'll see top of funnel. So that's like where awareness starts, interest. Middle of funnel is they go a bit deeper. They're researching your product a bit more. They've seen your brand a couple of times now. As they get to the bottom of the funnel, that's when they start to transact. And what we want them to be doing is advocating on our behalf, and we're retaining them as a client. So I just really wanted to put that graphic in there so you had a good understanding of the different elements of the sales funnel. All right, so what are the key strategy components? So one is foundation. So that's defining your objective and your consumer that we just discussed. Two is what I like to call the floodgates. So it's getting the traffic into your funnel. And three is the sales funnel itself. So moving traffic from the top of the funnel through to the bottom. So the foundation, it's very much before you can begin any sort of advertising or ads, e-news, anything, you really need to have done, I guess, your strategic plan. And that is the PDF we're going to give you at the end of this. Basically helps you set that strategy. Conduct competitor analysis, so looking at other people's price points, identifying target markets, so that this will be extremely important. The more time you put into the foundations, the better you'll get the outcome. And then next in the digital marketing funnel strategy is creating that customer journey and mapping out your funnel from top to bottom. So when we talk about mapping out your funnel, I'm talking about the different mediums you're going to use. So how you're going to get people to the website. And like I said before, that might be e-news, social media posts, blog, a video, any way you basically get traffic into that funnel. All right, so the floodgates. So this is basically traffic can come from so many different places. So, and we have touched on them. So social media marketing. So this is a great platform to bring your followers who you've engaged with into your funnel for this campaign. And it also keeps loyal customers up to date on new specials and offers. And essentially, you want to use your social media to really position yourself as a consumer of choice. So people want to work with you. Search engine optimization. So you would have heard me say SEO a couple of times. It's one of the best long-term sustainable approaches to get digital marketing into your funnel. The objective is to rank your website at the top of Google for specific keywords. So when potential customers are searching around their pain point or their problem, the information and the content you have included on your website ranks, and then obviously they're in your funnel because they're on your page now and researching. So that's where it comes back to that content element. The better the content and the fresher and newer and up-to-date the content, the more people are going to stay on your website. Paid advertising. It has so many shapes and forms and objectives. So from Facebook ads right through to Google AdWords, no matter the medium in which you're advertising on, the objective remains the same, which is filling your funnel with the relevant traffic. Marketing events. So this is obviously outside of digital, but events are a great source of traffic into your funnel. So events can come in many different formats, from online webinars to in-person events. Use these events as a means to connect with your audience, generate awareness for your brand, and encourage people to check out your website. So, it might be a product launch event that you have been working on. And at that event, we would make sure you have direct brochures or links about that product to take people to the website to learn more. So that's how you use an event as a funnel. And often events or pop-ups, we might call them, is they're very visual. So they're great content for blogs and social media and e-newsers after they've occurred. And then, of course, there's email marketing. So this is where you're using your database or a database you've acquired to be able to start incorporating marketing email campaigns to potential prospects to move them through that funnel. All right, and then the sales funnel itself. So moving the traffic from top to bottom. So you've basically you've set your strategy for your sales funnel. You've specified the platforms you'll need to deliver the strategy, and now we can implement the funnel. So here are a few campaign tips, and I just want to stress with the digital funnel, and when you've got a strategy or a campaign running, you really need to be assessing it every day. So if you've got Facebook ads running, you need to be jumping on and making sure that they are delivering, you are getting good bang for buck on your creative. You might need to change your creative. So you will learn as you're rolling these digital sales funnels out, you will learn your audience more, and that will help with your creative. So no matter the overall campaign objective, the function remains the same: enticing a visitor or a viewer to give up their contact information in exchange for something of value to them. So I'm sure you've probably seen on different platforms, you can include a free ebook or register for a webinar. Give us your email address and you get 10% off your first product purchase. So you can be as creative as you want, but the idea is to get their email and their contact information, because that now forms part of your database and you can be marketing directly to them. So that's a big one, guys. It's a big tip there. Anywhere you can get them to give over that information is a win. And then products exchanged obviously include the physical purchase of a tangible product. So, which is what we want to happen: clothing, appliances, beauty products, produce. Then you've actually, like, you've got the sale, you've transacted, they've had a great experience, and now we want them to advocate for you. All right, so ways to basically amplify your sales funnel. So generally speaking, the more difficult it is for someone to get access to what they are looking for, the more likely they'll leave and go somewhere else. So this is what I was talking about before around the less click-throughs, the better. And I can tell you now, we work with a lot of e-commerce clients, and these e-commerce clients, they didn't have websites in the past, and they noticed their sales were declining because people don't want to pick up the phone anymore. They don't want to talk to people. They want to be able to be lying in bed at 11 o'clock at night and buy their favorite product, and it arrives in the mail within 24 hours. So we really need to make the consumer journey as simple and as easy as possible. So some tips to do that. Make it very easy to find an action. So it is best to make the CTA, which is the call to action, as obvious as possible, whether that be in your written or graphical content on your website or in your e-newsletter design. So for example, if you had an e-newsletter and you're selling a product, it would have a call to action button that says buy now. As soon as they click on that, it takes them to the cart page. Only collect the information you truly need. So I know I said it's important to get the consumer data, but no one's going to go through and fill in a tedious form. So realistically, email is really where you want to be, what you want to be getting. And if you can get phone number, that's great. But generally, we find it's that email address that you want to be getting. And then your website, this is a key one as well, and this is where it often falls down. So you've got your sales funnel working, you've got them through the sales funnel, they're interested, we've remarketed them, they've gone back to your website, but your website is clunky, it's slow, and it's not user friendly. What we find is when we're reviewing Google Analytics is you can see through the consumer journey when the consumer jumps off. So if it's not easy to work your website, they'll disengage and Google another platform. So I'm going to pass over now to Steph, who's got a heavy background in e-commerce and ads strategy, and she will take over.
Hi everyone, thanks Lauren. So Facebook advertising. So I'm sure a lot of you have been on your phone on a website looking at, let's say, a pair of shoes, and then you go on Facebook and there's an ad for either that pair of shoes or the company you were just looking at, or a company that is very similar to the one you were looking at. So Facebook ads are just becoming more and more popular in through services, through e-commerce, through every single industry. And so I'm just going to delve a little bit of that more into that today. So how does advertising fit into the mix? So firstly, you've got Facebook and Instagram ads, and they are intended to support your organic content. So if you have your organic profile set up, great, because you really need those to help your advertising and vice versa. So ads are really great if you're wanting to acquire new customers. So clients who deliver consistent and quality content on your organic will actually experience a higher return on their ad spend as well. Ads magnify your organic content, which then means your increased overall brand awareness and engagement is high. So ads also help businesses to control the customer journey by targeting messaging to a consumer at different stages in a way organic can't. So you know, as we've said, this is going to new customers, and then we're targeting the customers that you've got, retargeting people from your website that already like you at all those stages in the funnel, which Lauren just spoke about. So the best ad strategies utilize multiple objectives. You know, you set them in line with your current business goals, and we as a business have just seen phenomenal results across all of our clients. So we'll look at some ad objectives now in Ads Manager. I just have a little tip there. If you are familiar with ads, or you are going to be doing some ads, you cannot have more than 20% text on your ad, because Facebook will not let you advertise there, because you know they want to keep some consistency and not just have purely sales. So just keep that in mind as well. So the different advertising objectives that we have in while setting up a Facebook ad, first you've got brand awareness, so telling people about your brand, getting the name out there. Reach, so if you wanted to show, you know, if you wanted to just have as many people as possible see your ad, that's an objective you can set as well. Traffic is my favorite one, and the most popular one that we do with clients, because they're taking people to your website and then assisting in that digital funnel, which Lauren just spoke about. So that is probably, I would recommend the first one to do. Engagement, so if you are just starting up a Facebook page and you know you were wanting to expand your reach there, you can set an engagement ad, and Facebook will show that to people who are most likely to like your page, be interested in your services, and then down the track convert. App installs, obviously if you have an app, this will target people to install your app. Video views, so video is key, especially with Facebook ads. So if you have video, I would definitely recommend utilizing that across your ad strategy, because it will get maximum amount of people looking at your content. I'm sure everyone can agree, you know, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you're more likely to probably stop and watch a video instead of just all of the constant static imagery. Lead generation, so you can have an ad which will drive more sales. You can really collect that data, so then they're more of a long-term lead for you, so such as email addresses, people that are interested in your brand and business, to really build up that database. Messages, you can target people through Messenger. Conversions, so if you really wanted to drive, if you have a product-based business, you would set up, you know, a conversion ad and displaying potentially your most popular products or at price points, etc., which would then result in conversions through your website. Catalog sales, again, for kind of retail or e-commerce, they will show the collection of your product offering, and store traffic as well. So driving visits to your physical stores by showing ads to people who are nearby. So leveraging your audiences to meet your objectives is really important. You know, you can easily just put money in an ad and off it goes. But the great thing about using Facebook in Business Manager is that you can really target down and make your money really work for you. So I guess here's a couple of examples here. So if you want to convert a database, your website or social media traffic into customers, so we would create a custom audience from your list, and then we would show them the ads. So we would then retarget people who viewed, for, you know, if you were in real estate, a property, or if you were a machinery salesman, you know, a machine, to then keep top of mind. So we know that that person has visited your website, has liked you on Facebook, so they're interested. So we keep retargeting those people, showing them the ads to keep top of mind with them. So we create a lookalike audience of users similar to the people that you already are engaged with, to then get new audiences. So that could be your database, your website traffic, your Facebook followers. So what Facebook does is then we create a lookalike audience. So people that are like those people that have already liked our content. So then we can gain new customers that way. And then promoting your Facebook page to your website's users or database, and vice versa. So to do all this, you will need Facebook Pixel. So if you have a Facebook page, that's great. You will need a Facebook business page as well. So it's quite easy to do. You just set it up in business.facebook.com. And then you create a Facebook pixel. It's just a small snippet of code, and it's placed on the back end of your website. So depending if you have a custom built site and you work with a developer, or you've done a website yourself, you can either just contact them just to put the code in, they'll know where to do it. Or if you have a Squarespace site or something like that, there are a few options that Facebook can let you do. So it's really quite easy. You can just simply Google it. So it's just a little bit of code, and what that does is it attaches your Facebook page to your website, and then it gives all of the data. So who's going to your website, who's engaging with your page, and then it just gives you a better understanding of how your ads are performing, and then lets Facebook target those people. So it's essential to have that. So I would definitely recommend getting Facebook Business Manager and then adding the pixel, and it really allows you that more detailed audience creation. So, you know, if you wanted to go people in Brisbane that like, let's say shoes, for example, or let's say machines. So Facebook will then will give me an option to say, okay, well, I want to target people that like machinery and parts and components, and I want a lookalike audience that has this kind of detail as well. So depending on what industry you're in, you can really target those people who, like the Brisbane Broncos or something like that, to really get your money working for you the best way, because those people are already interested in your industry as well.
Just to jump in there, a perfect example that happens all the time is florists. They often set their ads up to be targeting people who've recently changed their status to engaged on Facebook.
Yes.
So because obviously they want to get their wedding florals. So, that's a really easy one, and a really easy way to explain it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that you can set up your targeting. So as I've said here, if you set up for all, so just a pro tip, if you set up a pixel for all your websites, your business may wish to push traffic back to as well. So you can utilize that across a few different businesses. So this is what your pixel will look like in the back end of Facebook. You'll be able to see the stats there, how it's performing, and then kind of what you need to, it will give you some results as in what worked, what didn't, and you'll be able to get a number of insights from there. So just a few takeaways we just wanted to share with you just a few things that we find really helpful. So with digital programs and platforms, below is just a few recommended platforms and programs which we use and we feel they are the best to use for everything we've just discussed. So for your EDM, social media scheduling, etc. So for your website, if you are looking to implement a new website, we always recommend a professional design and a coded website for a number of reasons. So that being SEO, functionality, user experience, mobile optimization, which are all very, very important. There are a number of websites that you can create on your own if you have the time, the resources, and I guess the knowledge of what you really want to achieve. These ones we would recommend are Squarespace, WordPress, and if you are a product and you want to transact through the website for more of an e-commerce, Shopify. So there's a lot of information around these. I've worked on all of them and they are really quite user friendly. So I would recommend using any of those if you didn't want to get a professional built website.
And just with that as well, they offer free, like this Shopify offer a free platform that you can use. I would suggest you don't go with the free option because they run ads through it from other businesses and you just don't have enough functionality. So it's not expensive either. So I think the next tier up is only like $25 or something a month.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth the spend. Absolutely,
good point. And also in that, if you are kind of going through your URL and you're trying to make a URL, it's just make sure you do buy the URL, because some people, Shopify will give you a free one, your business at shopify.com something else. So just I would just put your own URL there. It will just look a lot better. So Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a really great tool. If you don't have it, I would recommend just adding it to your website ASAP. All you need is a Gmail account, and then it will, you can then add the code into your website. Basically what it does is just gives you all the web data, which is essential to understanding your website and your customer. So it gives you insights about your audience, your content, so much from where people are coming from. So if they're using a tablet or if they're using a mobile, how many people are using a mobile versus desktop? Are they coming from your EDM? Are they coming from your social media? Are they finding you on Google? What pages are they looking at? How long are they on your site? So there's a myriad of things that you can do with Google Analytics, but really it just helps you understand your content and what's working and what isn't. A really important one there is your bounce rate, as Lauren was saying before. So, if your bounce rate percentage is quite high, that means that people are just going on your site and then they're exiting straight away. So that's not what you want. So I think if you go into Google Analytics, you'll find a plethora of data which you can then make your marketing decisions from. E-newsletters. So we use predominantly MailChimp. Or AmpJar. We do also there are also custom automated marketing platforms, which are accompanied by different web hosting platforms. So abandoned cart emails is an example. So through Shopify, I'm sure a lot of you have gone to add to cart and then you've maybe gone off the web page and then you've received an email later saying, oh, you left this behind. So that's an abandoned cart email. So those are kind of built in with your e-commerce websites. But I think that for a customer facing CRM, MailChimp is great. It's quite user friendly. You just pop your database in there, it's got a number of design templates for you. And then it's got a really great reporting system as well. So you can track your open rate, your click-through rate, track your subject lines. You can optimize your send time. So it will deliver to people using AI when they most are likely to open your email. So yeah, that's a really great tool. Facebook. So the inbuilt Facebook scheduling tool is great for your social media. So you can do up your content schedule for the week or 2 weeks, plop it all in, and at the times you want, and then kind of, you know, forget about it. You don't have to be like, oh no, I didn't post that about that sale today or anything like that. You can schedule that in, and it also gives you on the insights tab on kind of the back end a lot of information about what posts are performing, which ones didn't, peak times, your reach, your engagement levels, etc. So that's a really great tool to utilize. For Instagram scheduling, we predominantly use a program called Sked Social. So it's great if you, it's kind of the same as Facebook. You pop in all of your content, schedule it up, and you can see what it looks like on your phone as a feed. You can see what it looks like on, you know, how it will look like on Facebook as well. And it will give you a lot of data. So the same as Facebook Insights, what's working, what's not working. Yeah, we think it's a really great tool. LinkedIn. So we use LinkedIn to schedule directly to the platform. Sked Social has actually just announced that they will be scheduling to LinkedIn as well, which is great. So you can put all your posts there, you know, if you're doing your content planning for the month, have a bit of an idea, and then make sure that all of your social media is really talking to each other. You can see it kind of all in one place.
Yeah, so that only was announced this week, that change, that
Yes.
Sked Social will now let you schedule to LinkedIn. So we will be swapping everything. All of our LinkedIn posting will now go through Sked Social. And I just want to reiterate there, LinkedIn is really good for business to business branding, and running ads through LinkedIn as well is really powerful.
Absolutely. And then ads managers. So that's what I spoke about before. So it's the only platform to utilize for doing ads on Facebook and Instagram. You just kind of tick a little button to press on Instagram as well when you're doing your ads in the setup. But it is really effective, and we've seen great results. Content planning. So we use Dropbox for our files because we have a lot of large files that you can't predominantly email, videos, etc. So it's great to really have them all just in one place, different folders. So we could definitely recommend using Dropbox for that. And it's easy to share as well. You just click a link, you create a link, and send it off an email, and then that person can have access to whichever folder you deem them necessary. For content planning, we also use a server-based system. So Google Drive is a really good one if you have a few employees, and it just allows various staff members to see and to work on a document at the same time. For graphic design, we really love Canva. It's quite a great app, and you can have it on your desktop or your phone, and it allows you to pre-design graphical tiles. So you can have a Facebook tile, Instagram story tile, cover photos for your social media. There's a lot of templates there, so that will really help you with any design that you have. If you have kind of an in-house person that likes graphic design or wants to learn, we use InDesign and Adobe Creative Apps. So for content, we utilize a lot of professional videographers and photographers. They really are the best choice for that quality content, really getting that premium across. So I guess for a website, for example, you'd really invest a lot in that, because that is something that is going to be, that is visible to whoever you know comes across your site and you're marketing to. However, they do have some really good iPhones at the moment with their cameras, and if you do have a bit of a skill in there, that can work as well for your social media, etc. It's just really looking at the settings, looking at what filters you're using, and just ensuring that that it's of a really high quality. Pinterest, we love Pinterest. It's a really great endless inspiration resource. So if you're just looking at you know, wanting some social content around your business, or a bit of inspiration, that's definitely the place to go. Content writing. So content writing is a skill, and if you're not feeling too creative or confident in your own content writing abilities, you can definitely outsource these to people. There are people that specialize in copywriting, and it really, it's probably worth doing just because it allows, to get your story across and for that content to be SEO optimized as well. So assessing web data. So I briefly spoke about Google Analytics before, but I'll just take you through a little bit more here. So really, to deliver a digital marketing strategy, you need to understand your numbers. So that's where Google Analytics comes in. So your audience overview page is going to give you some information on the following. So sessions, so the number of times a user opened your browser. Users, the number of unique users that opened the pages on your site. So that's new and existing. So it's really great to see on a weekly basis, or however you do your reporting, that that number of new users, because then okay, well, they must be responding to our marketing or the initiatives we've put out. The page views, so the number of pages viewed by a user during a session. So this is really important because you want to know where your customer is going, how deep they're going into your site, and what, if you're putting efforts into, say, a page that isn't being viewed, then okay, well, maybe you need to redirect them elsewhere. So it's really interesting to see these stats. Your average session duration, so how long is everyone staying on your site? It's set, we've got that users can have multiple sessions, which is correct. I myself, am on a website, go off, come back, but it's a really great tool to know, just so you can assess your content. Your bounce rate, as I said before, this is the percentage of single page sessions who aren't interacting with your page, and the percentage of new sessions. So new sessions which are made by new users. So here is just a simple funnel template, that we've just put together. So this is what we would most likely see in a campaign. So your social media ads, aiming to attract new viewers to either social media profiles or your website. Re-engaging through organic social media content and convert to a follower. We would then promote the click-throughs to your website from the paid organic social content. We would encourage e-newsletter signups onto the web page. We would then retarget the website traffic with social media ads if they hadn't yet converted, and then send regular e-newsletters to the potential clients with targeted content. We would then hope the client would then transact with the product from the business, and then promote a referral or review with the client. So that, I think, is, you're getting your customer all the way through to transaction, getting them to give you a testimonial, and then retain that customer as well. Oh, we're done. Well, so thank you for listening, everyone. We'll just have a look. I think we got a few questions.
We do. So first one, does people clicking on links in Facebook to your website add to your SEO?
Yes.
100%. So again, the more you can have direct link clicks from your social media to your website, the better it's going to assist with your organic SEO. So search engine optimization, you can pay for that. If you want to, get to Google fast, you can have an agency run it for you, and you can put some money behind it. But essentially, we generally, when we start a new website for someone or launch a new website for someone, we make sure organically we've got traffic funneling to it. There's no dead links. So Google will penalize you if there's any dead links on your site.
And also, just adding to that, I guess, so Facebook, Google and Facebook obviously read off each other, and if your organic social or your ads, if they're performing really well, Google wants to remain as reputable as possible, and they want to be serving up the best content that they can find. So if you've got these you know, a lot of people going to your site from Facebook, etc. Google knows that, so they're going to automatically push you up in the search ranking. So anything you can do, if you've got, and especially engagement wise, like that's really key. So that will definitely, if you are, you know, talking to people on social media, just make sure you're responding to comments, putting your links there. Google knows all. So yeah, it definitely helps. Does Google Analytics include your own access to the site? I'm not sure. Do you mean, that's okay. I think what you mean is, do you just have to install it? So that will, it's not actually even installing. You just go to googleanalytics.com, you sign in with a Gmail account. You may just have to make one, and then you set it up. There's a Google how to, and they'll give you a little bit of a code. You just have to pop that in the back end of your website. So either contact your developer, or you may be able to do it yourself. And there should be a little prompt as well that says Google Analytics code. Once that's done, it might take a few hours just to sync up, and then you are able to just go straight into Google Analytics, and that'll be linked to your site. I hope that's answered your question.
So, Steph, we've got some questions that was sent in earlier. One around what platform to use for e-news. So we did cover that in the presentation. We use MailChimp. So, like I know we talked about abandoned carts. So MailChimp can assist with that and work with your Shopify. So if someone does put a product into your cart but doesn't transact, within 24 hours you can set up an automated email to go out to them saying, hey, did you forget something? I'm still here. You can make it quite quirky, and that is all automated. So MailChimp, again, like Shopify, they have different levels. There's free platform, which doesn't have as much functionality, and it doesn't have as many templates as well. So I highly suggest actually buying a subscription. They're not overly expensive, but you just get more functionality. So we've just got another one about Google Analytics.
So I'm building my site and continually going to it. Does this get counted in analytics? So once your site is live, everything is counted. So if your site is live, you can track from the moment you made it live. Yeah.
And it will track you going there. It does, it will track you as traffic as well.
Yes.
If that's what you meant. Yeah.
Okay. We've just got another question that was sent in. Just about Facebook advertising strategy. So what Facebook advertising strategy would you recommend starting off with? So I would recommend initially a traffic campaign. So sending a lot of people to your website, because then after that campaign ends, we have quality leads that are actually really wanting to see your product, and then you would retarget those people because they're already warm leads. So you would be getting just a better use of your money as well. Alongside that, if you were just starting off a Facebook page or your social media, I would recommend running a engagement ad. So as I said before, that will really help, bring quality people that Facebook thinks is going to like your product and your page, to like your page, which then kind of sets up, you've got a customer that's interested, you have more people that are liking your page, which then Facebook looks at and goes, oh great, they're a popular page, let's push them up, and all of their social media, let's push them up in the rankings, which then tells Google to do the same thing.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've kind of gone over that.
Yeah, we've covered that one. The only other one we had a question come through was around photography and videography, which again we covered in the presentation. I guess I wanted to give an example today of literally a potential client who called us yesterday, and what had happened to them and their consumer journey. So previously to having this initial client phone call, I'd gone onto their website and their social media channels and done some research on them. And I must say, I didn't read into a lot of detail because the pictures they were using, they weren't posting regularly. It wasn't an overly appealing site. So I didn't, go into a lot of detail. When I had the initial phone conference with this gentleman, though, the reason he had reached out to us was to get some help with fixing his brand in the marketplace. Now, when he started speaking to me, he said they were actually exporting product to Dubai, Turkey, one of the biggest exporters into the US, and really a massive business in Australia. Now, his website and his social media content wasn't telling that story. So he had low resolution photos. It was a basic template site. They weren't using any sort of strategy through their sales funnels or their digital channels. So people, like I disengaged, I must say. What happened to him was he tendered a job 2 weeks ago. The project was worth $3.5 million. He was up against one of his competitors, another company. His price was slightly cheaper, so he thought he would have won it. The client come back and said he hadn't won the tender. He lost a $3.5 million contract because they didn't feel his brand was professional enough for them to align with. So they went with the other company who didn't necessarily have as much experience at all, and they were dearer on price point, but their website, their e-news, their social media, their tender document was so professional with past imagery of what they have done, that's essentially what won them the project. So I guess for him, he had a huge realization, a $3.5 million realization that that professional photography and video and investing into those outward facing platforms is really important in telling your potential client base your story. So, right from the very outset, I would encourage you to ask yourself what you want your brand to be saying, who you want to be talking to, and does your current platforms reflect that? Is there any questions around that? Because I just found, when I was talking to him yesterday, I just found that so interesting, how much that external marketing does come into play, especially with those big tenders.
I think that as well, just to your point, Lauren, with everyone now being online, it really is it is essential for businesses to be on there, because that's how people are finding you now. And really it's the best representation and the first representation that people are going to see. So they're going to jump onto your social media. If you haven't posted for a while, they might be like, you're
better off not having it, really. If you haven't posted in 12 months, you're better off taking your page down, because it's doing you a disservice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I think that's all of our questions we've had come through. We had a few more, but they've been answered throughout the presentation. As I said at the start, we will get a copy of the webinar, all of the slides, and a couple of hold on, we've got another question here. Keep saying that videos are important, but how can you constantly post videos when you provide a service rather than a product? I'm worried it would be too boring or repetitive. Okay, definitely 100%. We do get this question. So to give you some ideas around service-based industries, so we might look at an accountant as an example, because they're a harder industry and they're service-based. They might be posting educational videos they might do one on preparing for tax time, and it might literally be just an accountant talking face to camera around, now that coronavirus has hit and you've been working from home so much, there are extra claims that you can make this year, like XYZ. Talk to us today and we can help you get the most out of your tax return. That's one example. Then they might actually do a post on the current $25,000 housing grant that's now available to anyone who wants to build a house, and getting your financial affairs in place. For a service-based business, education is key. So straight away, especially in that first example of individual tax returns, people are going to be like, wow, I didn't even think of that. We're going to be able to have extra claims, which is going to be extra money in my back pocket. I really need to talk to this accountant. So it's basically positioning the accountant on the front foot, that they're a leader in their field and you need to be talking to them. Other videos we use, so we post a lot of videos around education, around social media, digital funnels, branding, the importance of branding. But we also get, you know, some of our key clients have done video testimonials for us where we put them out through our platforms, where it's actually our clients talking about their journey in marketing and working with Round Square. So they're just some examples. Does that help answer your question, Megan? Yeah, perfect.
Great.
So yes, like I was saying, we will get this webinar to you and all the slides, and I have put together a one-page PDF about setting up your digital sales funnel strategy. So it's a step-by-step guide that you can work through to set up your own digital campaign. And if you do have any questions, please send them through to Australian Organic, and Kelsey can pass them on to us, and we're happy to address them outside the webinar if you like. So we really hope you loved it, and we have our last one next week,
yes,
which is around databases, and we've got some legal industry people that will be joining us around how to basically form that database legally.
Yes. Yeah. We'll see you then. Thank you so much.
Bye.